We're flying from Inverness, Scotland to London. We're staying at the Claremont, next to Victoria Station. The trip is winding down, and so are we. This morning it feels good to not have to get going early. We finally venture out to Starbucks. We're here at Buckingham Palace on September 21st. The Queen's state funeral was on the 19th. The Union Jacks are all over, and memorials large and small are everywhere. The mall is still closed with a heavy police presence. We're going to cut across Green Park to Piccadilly, but it was closed. We almost were late for our reservations for high tea at Fortnum & Mason's. We started with champagne, then tucked into the finger sandwiches, the scones with clotted cream, lemon curd, and strawberry preserves, and ended up with the sweet tea cakes. Tonight we're going to a performance of Wicked at the Apollo Victoria Theatre. It's a reimagining of The Wizard of Oz from the witch's point of view. In the morning, we meet our guide for the next 2 days, Graham Horne, and we head for Burford, Oxfordshire. Our first stop is the Church of St. Mary the Virgin in Swinbrook. It was built sometime in the 11th or early 12th century. The most striking feature of the interior is the Fettiplace family monument in the chancel. The Fettiplaces owned the manor of Swinbrook in the 17th century and were very wealthy. The tomb on the left was built in 1613, and the tomb on the right in 1686. It's interesting to see how the fashion in clothing and architecture changed during that time. There are Fettiplaces buried under the floor, too. More recently, there's a plaque noting that the oak pews were donated to the church in memoriam for 2 local dignitaries who were killed in World War I. The architecture is a mix of Romanesque and early Gothic, except for the tower, which was added in 1822. Onto the charming town of Burford, often referred to as the gateway to the Cotswolds. The lower part of the high street is filled with souvenir shops and restaurants. Off the high street are several arched entrances to closes, leading to picturesque alleys. Burford prospered in the 19th century, as evidenced by this wealthy businessman's Georgian mansion on the high street. The upper high street is lined in row houses, all in the distinctive Cotswold stone. Today, they're mostly vacation rentals, with names like Dolphin House and Old Beams. The golden-colored stone is a Jurassic limestone, which the Cotswolds are famous for. The drawback from being a popular place is traffic jams on the high street. The Angel Pub is a 16th century coaching inn turned 21st century gastropub with 3 rooms to let. Onto the Church of St. John the Baptist in Burford. It was started in the 12th century and completed in its current configuration in the 15th. It's a wool church. It was financed by rich merchants and farmers who benefited from the medieval wool trade. Sherry can't pass up gargoyles and grotesques. The panels are from a monument to Edmund Harmon, the barber surgeon of Henry VIII. The panels show his 9 sons and 7 daughters, of whom only 2 girls survived their parents. The stained glass is the work of Charles Kemp. In the late to mid-19th century, his studios produced over 4,000 windows for churches in southwestern England. The Tanfield tomb seems out of character with the rest of the church. Sir Lawrence Tanfield died in 1625, and his widow arranged for this tomb without the permission of the priests or the townspeople. Sir Lawrence was Chancellor of the Exchequer to James I. In other words, he was the chief tax collector. He was reviled for his heavy-handed interference in local affairs and the reputation for greed and corruption. For 2 centuries after his death, Burford residents gleefully burned his effigy every year. Our next stop is in Fairford in Gloucestershire for another beautiful church. It's St. Mary's Church. The tower dates to the early 15th century, and the church was rebuilt at the end of the 15th century by John Tame, a wealthy wool merchant. The glory of this church is its stained glass. The 28 windows are the most complete set of medieval stained glass in Britain. The windows were made between 1500 and 1517. At the crossing, bell ropes hang down. More gargoyles and grotesques for sherry. After lunch, we head to Bath in Somerset. Bath is famous for and named after the Roman baths, which date to the year 60 in the current era. Equally impressive is the Bath Abbey, founded in the 7th century and rebuilt in the 12th and the 16th century. On either side of the west facade are angels ascending Jacob's ladder. In the 17th century, Bath became a popular spa destination. The current visitor's entrance to the Roman baths is via an 1897 concert hall with an impressive dome. All the buildings at street level and above are from the 19th century. That includes all the Roman-style statuary. The Great Bath is lined with 45 sheets of lead and filled with hot spa water. The lead makes it too toxic to use today. The pool is surrounded by niches where the bathers could relax, eat, drink, and socialize. Most interesting part of the baths is the museum displaying artifacts uncovered during the archaeological digs at the site. Visitors can also walk through the inner workings of the baths and see how the heated air was circulated under the floors to heat the rooms. Out in the streets of Bath, we are in a Georgian city circa 1791. This is the Guildhall, built between 1775 and 1779. The Pulteney Bridge over the River Avon was completed in 1774. It's unusual in that the shops were built along the entire span on both sides. St. John's Church is a Roman Catholic church built between 1861 and 1863. The spire was added in 1867. The Empire Hotel was built in 1901. We call it a day and head to Swindon in Wiltshire. We're staying at the Chiselton House Hotel for one very short night. Carrie and I hope you're enjoying our adventures in England. There are over 250 videos on our channel, with more added every year. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a comment. We enjoy hearing from our subscribers.